Have you ever run into that situation that you had a problem with somebody, like a problematic situation, and you wanted to talk it out? You honestly just wanted to sit down and talk about it and clear the air and make things better. Because this is what I realized recently. Most people in my life are perfectly capable of doing this. Like I can go to them, and if there's a problem or some kind of an event, I can sit down and say, look, here's the situation, I would really like to talk about this, and I just tell them what's going on from my side, and then we have a conversation. And oftentimes, obviously, this is not easy or not pleasant, because sometimes, you just need to sit down and say things out loud. At least this is how I operate, because I need to clear the air. Otherwise, I just keep running around and running it in my head, and maybe journaling it out, or talk about it with somebody else that I trust. But it's not ideal, it's not good. And most of the time, I can sit down and say what I need to say, and then it works, and then we can move forward, and the air is cleared, and everything is fine, and everything is okay. Or not okay, but at least we talked about it. We don't need to agree on absolutely everything. I think that's to expect that it's kind of just silly. But sometimes, once in a while, I run into a situation where I can't talk it out. And that's when I don't know what to do. Just the other day, there was an event with somebody who's actually quite close to me. And in the past, I would just try to let it slip, because I was like, no, it's too complicated, it's a difficult situation to go into. So I would just stay quiet. And honestly, it would hurt me. I would hurt myself with not saying it out loud, because I always assumed, I guess on previous experiences, that okay, this is just not going to work, because with this person you can't really say things out loud, and I just need to stay quiet. And then it was eating me from the inside. So it wasn't good. But I was like, okay, I let it go. But I decided recently that I am not going to let this happen any longer, at least with this one person, for sure. Because it was a lot. Like, this has been going on for a long time. I've known this person for a very long time. And I was like, okay, this new thing happened. I don't want to go into too much details, but it was, he did something that I thought was outrageous, and I thought it was disrespectful, and I needed to say it out loud. So, after I calmed down and I cleared my head a little bit, and I realized what I actually wanted to say, like I wanted to figure out what was actually really bothering me, which parts of that event were the ones that really bothered me. I went to him and I said, look, this is what happened, this is how I saw it, this is how I experienced it. I would really like to clear the air and talk about this. And politely, kindly, I explained my side of the story. And then he completely misunderstood it, like completely. All he heard was that I was hurting him and I disapproved of him, but not that one action or behavior, just him as a person, like entirely, which was obviously not true. And it doesn't matter what I said, it didn't matter what I said. He was like, no, I'm hurting him, this is bad. And then eventually we got to a point, like I realized that this is not going to move anything forward, and things were getting really frustrating. Eventually I was like, okay, can you just explain to me please what happened, and then we can talk, we can close this, we don't need to talk about this. So he explained it. I was like, okay, I understand, I completely disagree with it, but it's your action, so okay, I understand. And we closed the conversation. And I thought that was that. And actually, to be honest, I was proud of myself for saying things out loud, staying polite, staying calm, but standing my ground. And I was like, okay, shoulder pad. Next day, I met this person again, and I saw something was really off. It didn't occur to me that it was the same problem. And then I asked what was going on, and he was like, no, nothing. I was like, yeah, right, I can see that. Like, I can, from 20 meters away, you're radiating like an upset person. Like, what's going on? Eventually, I managed to get it out of him. He was still hurt from the previous conversation. That was just the day before. I was really surprised. I was like, seriously? Like, actually, it wasn't such a big deal. to begin with, and second, like, all I did was I said how I felt, and I explained why I'm saying it. And then we got into kind of an argumenty fight, and he brought up a bunch of older things that apparently have been bothering him for weeks, like weeks, and maybe even longer, because then the fight it actually turned into a fight, and it was really, really unpleasant, and I was like, what the heck is going on in here? So, long story short, we talked, and then I realized we were actually talking, like, not like at each other, but like next to each other. Like, we really didn't even talk about the same thing, I think. And then I realized that this person thinks that I've been hurting them for a while because I didn't accept it outrageously strange behavior, to be honest, when he was doing really weird stuff with other people and also with me. And just being very disrespectful, kind of selfish, and acting in a community of people in a way that I personally thought was kind of not fair. Okay, extremely not fair, to be very honest. But I've been trying to be civilized about it and just communicate. And I thought I was doing an okay-ish job, but as it turned out, he thought it as a personal, or he took it as a personal kind of accusations and blaming. So again, I tried to, like, calmly, peacefully, with respect, talk it out. And that was just, as it turned out, impossible. And then we closed the conversation, and I said, look, this is pointless. We are just getting both really upset. Why won't we agree that nobody wants to hurt the other person, and let's just call it a day, and let's go on our separate ways, because this is not leading anywhere. It was actually really unpleasant. And then, okay, we agreed, and we went on our separate ways. And then after this, I was thinking to myself that I think this person actually just does not know how to regulate his own emotions. Like, he's a little bit alone, and he doesn't have close friends. He has people in his life. He has a bunch of acquaintances, and he's like okay with that. Like, he's fine on this kind of more superficial level, but he doesn't have like close friends who would give him reality check. And the conclusion I got to is that some people maybe just they are not in touch with their emotions. And if that's the case, it doesn't feel like I can have a proper conversation, or you can't talk out problems or issues or even just differences. So there's always stuff being swept under the rug. And then the people around this person, for example, I talked with a few of them, and they said the same, that they've been trying to talk with him, or because some things are really not working, dysfunctional things, and it's not possible. Like, we got to the same conclusion that he means well, he's a really good person, but some things went really sidetracked over the years, and it's impossible to get from A to B. Like, he that just does not want to hear what anybody is saying. And so I was really thinking about, it's not even personal responsibility, but it's like, I guess, personal development and emotional maturity maybe, or just having a clear picture about one's self. But how it affects relationships, how we deal with our own emotions or issues inside. Because my conclusion of this event or series of events, because actually this was like multiple days, like by now this is multiple days, and we found a peaceful solution. I think everybody's okay, we cleared the air, but not in a way that I personally think would be healthy, and I could be wrong, obviously. But it looks like some people, and I know some other people like this, some people are just so not in touch with their emotions, they don't know how to deal with their emotions, that their relationships can kind of come to a halt, like just a frustrated standpoint where you can say things out loud, but you don't want to break the relationship, so you're staying in it because the person is important to you. You love this person, or at least I do, and I know he loves me too, but it's not progressing. Like with other people, I feel if we talk about problems, then there's a progression, like we both move forward, the relationship gets stronger. And in this case, it does not. And it's been like this for a really, really long time. So it's kind of difficult, but it also made me think about a lot of things. So if you have similar experiences, I would really like to know how you're dealing with them, or if you have a good idea about how to move forward, or you just let it go. Like maybe you just accept it. That's another option. You just accept it and you realize, okay, if I want to have this person in my life, then this is the trade-off. And I don't want to cut him out because I love him and it's important for me to have a relationship of some sort, even if it's not ideal. But I also am not willing to keep hurting myself with unsaid things and so much frustration and just tension, because it's not fair on myself. Like I feel like I owe this much to myself. So this is an interesting standpoint for me, and I would like to know your opinion or your experiences. So if you felt like it, write them down in the comments and then I'll get back to you. And this was my little morning note and my morning philosophical observations. And with that, I will wish you a very good day or night, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye for now.